What if 12 foods from the Bible could lower blood pressure, fight inflammation, and balance your blood sugar? Most are in your kitchen right now. For thousands of years, desert armies survived on them. Ancient midwives prescribed them. Healers across the Middle East built medical systems around them. Here's what makes me mad. Science proved these foods work. Most people walk right past them at the store. Even worse, the few who eat them use them completely wrong. Today I'm revealing all 12, plus exactly how to use each one. Number 10 floored me, a seed from Isaiah with over 50 clinical trials. Comment if these are in your diet or totally new. Hit like so you never miss this. Here's number 1. Number 1, dates. Do your energy levels crash every afternoon? Feel like you need sugar just to keep going? Those crashes mean your body can't hold stable blood sugar. That drives cravings, belly fat, and long-term metabolic damage. The date palm shows up more than almost any fruit-bearing tree in Scripture. Not for decoration, because it kept people alive crossing deserts that should have killed them. Soldiers, traders, pilgrims walking hundreds of miles to Jerusalem. They all carried dates. A single date packs magnesium, potassium, copper, manganese, and B vitamins into something you can hold in your palm. The fiber slows sugar absorption so your blood sugar rises smoothly instead of spiking like it does with processed sugar. Multiple controlled trials found that women who ate 6 dates daily in their final weeks of pregnancy had shorter labor and greater cervical dilation at admission. Ancient midwives prescribed dates for this exact purpose. Modern obstetrics took a few thousand years to catch up. 3 to 5 medjool dates as pre-workout fuel or a natural sweetener. Breaking a fast, dates go first. That's why they've been used to break the Ramadan fast for centuries. Smooth absorption, no spike, no crash. Dates keep you standing. But the next food was so valuable, a man traded his entire inheritance for one bowl of it. Number 2, lentils. Are you tired of blood sugar swings that leave you foggy and drained after every meal? Unstable blood sugar wears out your pancreas, feeds inflammation, and makes losing weight almost impossible. 2 stories in Scripture tell you everything. Genesis 25. Esau comes in from hunting, starving. He sells his entire birthright to Jacob for a single bowl of red lentil stew. Most people think Esau was a fool. Maybe. Or maybe the food was that satisfying after days in the wilderness with nothing. Then 2 Samuel 23. One of David's elite warriors, Shammah, stands alone in a lentil field and fights off an entire Philistine raiding party. Everyone else ran. He stayed. You don't risk your life for a plant unless that plant keeps your community alive. Clinical research says he was right. Lentils pack roughly 25 grams of protein per 100 grams dry, with one of the lowest glycemic indexes of any carbohydrate. Trials on type 2 diabetic patients showed that daily servings of cooked lentils at breakfast significantly reduced fasting blood sugar and total cholesterol. The polyphenols inhibit the ACE enzyme, the same target blood pressure medications go after. A cup of cooked lentils 3 to 4 times a week. Boil them whole, not as flour, because whole lentils keep more of their blood sugar lowering effect. Red lentils cook in 15 minutes. A thick stew with garlic and onions is still the best protocol. 3 biblical foods in a single bowl, your blood sugar and blood pressure in the same meal. But the next food was so prized, a starving father sent it as a gift instead of gold. Number 3, pistachios. Is your eyesight getting worse year after year? Worried about macular degeneration as you age? Vision loss is one of the most feared consequences of aging. Most people do nothing about it until the damage is done. Genesis 43. Jacob's family is starving in a famine. He sends his sons to Egypt to negotiate for grain, life or death stakes. He tells them to bring pistachios as a gift to the Egyptian ruler. Not gold, not silver, Pistachios. They contain lutein and zeaxanthin, the primary protective compounds for the macula of the eye. Regular consumption is linked to reduced risk of age-related macular degeneration. Studies also found pistachios increase beneficial butyrate-producing bacteria in the colon more effectively than other nuts tested. Before anyone had a word for the microbiome, Jacob's household was feeding one of its strongest supporters. Here's what most people miss. The fat in pistachios isn't fully absorbed. Some passes through intact because of how the cell walls are structured. It feeds gut bacteria instead of being stored. 30 grams daily, raw or dry roasted. In-shell is better because it slows eating. Store them in the fridge. The fats oxidize at room temperature. Eyes protected and gut bacteria fed. But the next grain outperforms oats in every blood sugar trial ever run. Number 4. Barley. Does your blood sugar spike after every meal, no matter what you eat? Post-meal spikes stress your pancreas and damage blood vessels over time. Most grains make this worse. One grain does the opposite. When Jesus fed 5,000 people, those loaves were barley. The bread of soldiers and laborers, nobody glamorous. Turns out ordinary people were eating the most cardiovascular protective grain ever studied. Barley contains more beta-glucan than any grain on Earth. That's the soluble fiber the FDA approved a formal health claim for because the evidence is that strong. It forms a gel in your digestive tract that slows glucose absorption, binds LDL cholesterol before it can be reabsorbed, and feeds beneficial gut bacteria. In head-to-head trials against oats, barley outperforms them on post-meal blood sugar, consistently. Lower glycemic index than wheat or white rice. Hulled barley, not pearled. Pearled strips the bran where most of the fiber lives. Cook it like rice with more water, about 50 minutes. Use it as a base for stews or a thick breakfast porridge. Blood sugar smoothed out. But the next food set the standard for antioxidant research, and most people throw away its most powerful part. Number 5. Pomegranate. Are your joints stiff and inflamed when you wake up? Feel like your body is aging faster than it should? That's chronic inflammation attacking your mitochondria, the power generators inside every cell. When they break down, everything breaks down. 400 carved pomegranates decorated the 2 pillars of Solomon's temple. In a culture where every symbol carried weight, that was intentional. Pomegranates contain punicalagin, a compound that barely exists anywhere else in nature. Your gut converts it into urolithins, which protect mitochondria and reduce inflammation at the cellular level. Clinical trials showed pomegranate juice measurably lowers blood pressure, reduces LDL oxidation, and drops C-reactive protein. The polyphenol concentration outranks red wine, green tea, and blueberries. All 3 are synonymous with antioxidant research. Pomegranate beats them. And here's what everyone throws away: the rind, more medically concentrated than the edible fruit. Traditional healers brewed it as tea for intestinal infections. Eat the seeds whole. 8 ounces of fresh pressed juice daily. Dry the rind and steep it as gut support tea. Use the whole fruit. Inflammation dropping at the cellular level. But the next food made grown men weep when they couldn't get it. Number 6. Garlic. Do you catch every cold that comes around? Feel like your immune system can't keep up anymore? Frequent infections mean your immune defenses are weakened. Each one drains your energy and stacks more inflammation on top of what's already there. Numbers 11. The Israelites are in the desert surviving on manna, and they reach a breaking point. Grown adults, freshly delivered from slavery, in tears. What did they mourn? The garlic of Egypt. When garlic is crushed, a compound called allicin forms through an enzymatic reaction. Allicin is one of the broadest spectrum natural antimicrobials ever identified. active against bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites at the same time. Clinical trials confirm regular garlic consumption reduces cold frequency, lowers blood pressure, and drops LDL cholesterol. The critical detail: heat destroys allicin. Raw crushed garlic is dramatically more potent than cooked. Crush 1 to 2 cloves and wait 10 full minutes before eating or cooking. That window lets allicin fully form. Skip it and you lose most of the medicinal value. Add it raw to dressings or hummus. Egyptian medical texts listed garlic in over 20 separate preparations, immune system armed. But the next food contains a compound so powerful a dying king recovered when it was pressed onto his wound. Number 7. Figs. Do you struggle to get enough minerals without a handful of supplements every morning? Mineral deficiency drives anxiety, poor sleep, muscle cramps, and high blood pressure. Most people don't connect those symptoms to what's missing in their food. 2 Kings chapter 20. King Hezekiah is dying from an infectious wound. Isaiah doesn't just pray, he gives a medical instruction. Press a lump of figs directly onto the wound. They follow it. Hezekiah recovers. For centuries, that was treated as metaphor. Then researchers found the biochemical basis. Figs contain phycin, a proteolytic enzyme that breaks down dead tissue, cleaning a wound from the inside. Fresh fig latex inhibits bacterial growth and speeds early-stage skin healing. As food, figs are among the most mineral-dense fruits available. Magnesium, potassium, calcium, B vitamins, plus soluble pectin fiber that diversifies your gut bacteria. In a world without multivitamins, figs were the closest thing to a daily supplement. 3 to 4 dried figs a day. Check the label. Quality dried figs don't need added sugar. Isaiah prescribed it. The prescription worked. Minerals restored. But the next food targets the same enzyme pathway as blood pressure medication. And an entire civilization fed it to the workers who built the pyramids. Number 8. Onions. Is your blood pressure creeping up at every doctor visit? Tired of being told to take another pill? High blood pressure silently damages arteries, strains your heart, and raises your risk of stroke and heart attack year after year. The workers who built the Great Pyramid at Giza were provisioned with massive quantities of onions and garlic. The Greek historian Herodotus reported an inscription on the pyramid recording the cost of these foods for the labor force. You choose foods that keep people strong when you're feeding tens of thousands of workers. Onions are among the richest dietary sources of quercetin, a polyphenol with anti-inflammatory, antihistamine, and antioxidant effects. A study in the British Journal of Nutrition confirmed that quercetin supplementation significantly lowered systolic blood pressure in hypertensive participants. It inhibits the same inflammatory pathways involved in chronic disease. The less talked about power is their prebiotic fiber. Onions are loaded with inulin-type fructans that selectively feed bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, the foundational strains of a healthy gut. The ancient Israelite diet was built on garlic, onions, and leeks daily. Without knowing the word microbiome, they were building one. Raw red onions for maximum quercetin. Red varieties have significantly more than white or yellow. Cooked onions in everything else for sustained prebiotic fiber. Blood pressure targeted at the enzyme level. But this next food kills bacteria that survive pharmaceutical antibiotics. Number 9. Raw honey. Do you reach for antibiotics at the first sign of a sore throat? Overuse of antibiotics is creating superbugs that standard medications can't kill. Your body needs antimicrobial options that work differently. Eat honey, for it is good. That's Proverbs. Scripture doesn't mention a food this often without reason. Raw honey kills antibiotic-resistant bacteria, including MRSA, strains that survive pharmaceutical antibiotics. 3 mechanisms at once. hydrogen peroxide generated on contact with tissue, low water content and acidic pH that pathogens can't survive in, and a protein called defensin-1 that breaks down bacterial cell structures. Manuka honey is now standard wound care in hospitals, not alternative medicine. Standard protocol. Everything hinges on one word: raw. Above 40 degrees Celsius, the enzymes degrade. The clear honey on most shelves has been heated into expensive syrup. The honey from Scripture was unfiltered, unheated, functionally alive. Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs, still edible. Source: raw, unfiltered honey, cloudy, not clear. A tablespoon at the first sign of a sore throat. Applied directly to minor cuts. Never cook with it at high heat. You'll destroy what makes it medicine. Superbugs handled. But number 10 is the one that floored me. A seed the prophet Isaiah described by name, with over 50 clinical trials proving what he already knew. Number 10. Black cumin. Let me ask you something. How many supplements do you take every morning trying to cover all your bases? Most people swallow a handful of pills for blood pressure, cholesterol, inflammation, and blood sugar separately. What if one seed addressed all four? Isaiah 28, verses 25 through 27. The prophet describes Israelite farming practices and names the crops: cumin, black cumin, wheat, barley, spelt. He makes a specific point. Black cumin is not threshed with heavy equipment. It's beaten gently with a stick because the seeds are too valuable to crush. The Hebrew word is ketzah. Easton's Bible Dictionary identifies it as Nigella sativa. The active compound is thymoquinone. Nigella sativa is one of the most clinically studied herbal medicines, with dozens of clinical trials registered on clinicaltrials.gov. Randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies confirmed it lowers blood pressure, reduces total cholesterol, LDL, and triglycerides. It has documented anti-inflammatory, liver protective, blood sugar lowering, and immune modulating effects. That range of confirmed activity from a single plant compound is nearly unprecedented. 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed black seed oil daily, morning, empty stomach, or mixed into food. The taste is strong and peppery. Chase it with raw honey if needed. Look for oil that lists thymoquinone content on the label. Research showed commercial products vary enormously. Quality matters here more than any other food on this list. 1 seed covering what most people need 5 supplements for. But the next food was so sacred, they shaped the temple menorah after its blossoms. Number 11. Almonds. Do you deal with muscle cramps, poor sleep, or anxiety that won't let up? Those symptoms read like a checklist for magnesium deficiency, and a large portion of the modern population is deficient without knowing it. When God instructed Moses on the design of the menorah, the cups were shaped like almond blossoms. When Aaron's rod budded overnight as a divine sign, it produced almonds, not dates, not figs, almonds. They built sacred architecture around this nut. 1 serving delivers roughly 48% of daily vitamin E as alpha tocopherol, the most bioavailable form. That's the fat-soluble antioxidant protecting your cell membranes from oxidative damage linked to aging and cardiovascular disease. Almonds are also one of the best food sources of magnesium, a mineral involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. 23 almonds a day with the skin on. The skin holds the highest concentration of polyphenols. Soak overnight to reduce phytic acid and improve mineral absorption. If your teeth can't handle whole almonds, 12 to 24 hours of soaking softens them considerably. Magnesium restored and cells protected. But this final food fights inflammation through the exact same pathway as ibuprofen. And most people have never tasted the real version. Number 12. Olive oil. Do your joints ache constantly? Taking ibuprofen more often than you'd like? Long-term anti-inflammatory drug use damages your gut lining and raises cardiovascular risk. Your body needs something that calms inflammation without creating new problems. Over 140 references in Scripture. Kings anointed with it, wounds dressed with it, lamps fueled by it. In Luke 10, the Good Samaritan pours oil and wine into a stranger's wounds. That wasn't symbolism. That was medicine applied by someone who understood what he was doing. Extra virgin olive oil contains oleocanthal, a polyphenol that inhibits the same cyclooxygenase enzymes as ibuprofen. Published in Nature in 2005, that finding confirmed what Mediterranean cultures practiced for centuries. That peppery sting at the back of your throat from good olive oil? That's the oleocanthal. Stronger sting means higher concentration. Hundreds of trials on the Mediterranean diet, built around olive oil, link it to reduced heart disease, cancer, and cognitive decline. But most of what's sold as olive oil isn't the same food. Harvested late when antioxidants drop, blended with cheaper oils, processed with heat that destroys the polyphenols. If you've tried olive oil and thought it did nothing, you probably weren't using the real thing. Cold-pressed, early harvest, extra virgin, with a harvest date on the bottle. Dark glass or tin. Taste it. If it stings the back of your throat, the oleocanthal is present. If it goes down smooth, the concentration is too low to matter. A tablespoon straight, daily. Drizzled raw on finished dishes. The ancient world didn't take supplements. They poured this over everything. 12 foods from Scripture. From the dates that kept armies marching to the lentils, a warrior defended with his life, to the oil that fights inflammation the same way as ibuprofen. These people weren't primitive. They were paying attention. Modern science keeps arriving where they did thousands of years ago. But there's one ancient drink that multiplies the absorption of nearly everything we just covered. And when you combine it with olive oil, something remarkable happens to your inflammation markers. Click here to find out what it is and exactly how to use it.